Now, let us continue our discussion. There are ways of employing positive reinforcement. Number one is through verbal ways or praising words like good, well done. No? It is best for children, specifically in elementary or preschool, that is being praised for good deeds, no, or good action, because they will feel that they are important and they are appreciated. Next is nonverbal ways like nodding, smiling. So gestures are very important as well as powerful, no? So if you see a student or a teacher frowning or looking so blankly staring at one person, then that implies something, no? And then citing in class or publishing in the bulletin board exceptional works and outputs. Or for example, giving some incentives, no? Like additional points or exempting in the final examination. That is a way of positive reinforcement. So in that case, the student will be motivated to learn and do well in the class. Classification of educational reinforcers includes recognition or praise or acknowledgement or giving awards or prize, the one that I'm telling to you earlier. Next is tangible rewards like grades, free food, and prizes. Minsan, no, nagdadala ako ng chocolate or candies sa bag ko, no? And during the time that students are somehow bored with the discussion, then I will be giving some activities that will make them excited. Like for example, games, no? And those who will be getting high points in the on that particular games will be given a reward. Like for example, a simple chocolate or a candy, no? So even in college, I do that, no? Because that will make things differently every day, no? Hindi magiging monotonous at yung mga estudyante will be somehow excited and I am also giving some humor in my discussion. Next is learning activities or assignments and projects. No, students are actually excited, no? Specifically those who are good learners when they are given assignment or things to do or projects, no, that are related to the topic. School responsibilities like the curriculum, the schedule can also be reinforcers. Status indicators like peer tutor, having own space or desk, or for example, if you are giving that particular person ability to express themselves during class, now this person may feel na he is important, so he is motivated to learn. And then incentive feedback like increased knowledge and examination or simply giving some pointers in the examination will reinforce the student to learn. And then personal activities like extra time off or engaging in special projects or simply giving them opportunity to discuss or talk among themselves the topic, no, during the break, and then giving them ample time to process by themselves, and then afterwards you will be summarizing the topic for discussion. Then this will help reinforce the students or the learner to learn and to become interested in the topic. Now, the behaviorist theory says that environmental stimulus, conditions, and reinforcement promote changes in response. So, to change behavior, change the environment. Transfer of learning, practice similarity in stimulus, conditions, and responses between learning and new situation. So, sa learning environment, masasabi natin na learning environment plays an important part, no, in the learning process of the learner. So, yung mga distraction must be eliminated, and also the environment must be conducive for learning, no? Para ma-motivate, ma-encourage yung mga estudyante na mag-aral. Next is the cognitive theory. It says that internal perception and thought processing within the context of human development promote learning and change. To change behavior, change cognition. Now, cognitive science is the study of how our brains work in the process of perceiving, thinking, remembering, and learning. And cognition is very important in nursing, no? So that's why most of the students that pass the board examination, no? Because in nursing we are trained to think critically. You were given a lot of situational analysis or situational examination topics that the students will analyze, no? And will try to answer the best reply or response to that particular situation. So in that case, students in nursing are being taught to be thinking critically. Next is information processing, no? Sometimes used to describe a subset of this field of study. It explains the way that information is handled once it enters the senses and how it is organized and stored. Now, there are three kinds of learning based on schemata theory. Okay? Um, when we talk about schemata, is a cognitive structures representing generic knowledge. Like, for example, structures which do not contain information about particular entities, instances, or events, but rather about their general form. So, in other words, schemata means prior knowledge, the knowledge that you have acquired from the previous learning. So, number one, accretion. This is the learning of facts. New information is learned. No changes made into existing knowledge. Next is tuning. Existing schemata evolved or refined throughout the lifespan. And three, restructuring. This is the development of new schemata by copying an old schema and added new elements. Now, there are stage of theory information. It is also relates to memory activity. This is the core of this theory that information is both processed and stored in three stages: the sensory memory, the short-term memory, and the long-term memory. First is sensory memory. This is fleeting or passing swiftly. Objects we see may last for only half second. Things we hear in sensory memory may last about 3 seconds. The short-term memory is described as sometimes the working memory. It consists of whether we are thinking about from an external stimulus at any given time. This particular memory may last for about 20 seconds unless we mentally or verbally repeat the item. You may forget it in 3 seconds if it's not important to you. While the long-term memory, you have to firmly tie this name to an existing schema in the brain, and you can use some mnemonics devices or device related to another, similar names, face or place, or create pictures. It would also help to practice the name periodically to fix it firmly in long-term memory. There are common concept cognitive learning theories. Learning. This is the acquisition of knowledge then on the resulting behavior change. This is according to Howard in 1999. The process by which whereby novices become more expert. Novices means new learners. while expert are said to be those who are expert in the field of learning. Next is metacognition. So metacognition, it has evolved in the from the study of information processing, no? It is defined as thinking about one's thinking. So similar to critical thinking. It is also the process that learners use to gauge their thinking while reading, studying, trying to learn, or problem solving. Intelligence, on the other hand, is an innate ability that predicts success in learning. IQ tests or intelligence quotient tests were built on measures of memory, vocabulary, reasoning, and mathematics that attempted to predict academic achievements. This is from Ackerman, 2005. Now, Garner in 1992 introduced the term multiple intelligence. Next, we go to the topic social learning theory. This is the external role models and their perceived reinforcement along with learners' internal influences. So to change behavior, change the role models, perceived reinforcement, and the learner's self-regulating mechanism. So this means that changes will help the learner to achieve additional information. No? Next is psychodynamic theory. This is the internal forces such as development stage, childhood experience, emotional conflicts, and ego, strength influence, learning, and change. So to change behavior, change interpretations, and make unconscious motivations conscious. So this means that we learn from our experiences, no? From the time that we were born up to the time that we were given opportunity to make decisions. There are things that we experience in life. And this experience taught us new lessons. At yung lesson na ito ay magagamit natin hanggang sa ating pagtanda. This is how psychodynamic theory uh, is taking place, no? Then humanistic theory. Humanistic theory is the internal feelings about self, ability to make wise choices, and needs affect learning and change. So to change behavior, change feelings, self-concept, and needs, no? Ito naman ay yung particular na pamamaraan ng isang individual or ng isang learner kung paano niya titingnan ang sitwasyon, no? It's about self and the ability to make wise choices. Now, there are some person who are pessimistic. This is the opposite of optimistic, no? If you see certain negative aspect of a certain situation or a certain scenario, then that will make you learn harder, no? So think of a way on which you will feel that this particular learning will help you to become a person that you wanted to be in the future. So that is being optimistic. So it will help a person to really determine that the choices that he will make him a better person. But if you choose to become negativistic, then it will really affect the person that you are, no? So importante din na kapag tayo yung gumawa ng desisyon o kaya kung tayo ay may mga perception, so it is important for us to make wise decision and choices and feel good about ourselves that we are trying to do this because we will be benefited by this. So in learning, alam natin that you cannot go wrong with learning, no? Learning always give positive effect to an individual. Walang nag-aaral, walang tinuturuan, walang lesson na nakukuha na pangit ang nagiging effect nito sa tao. So tandaan natin 'yan, no? Learning always give a positive effect to an individual. And you have to note that everything will be good